what if you're on a break? What if you and your partner went on a break and you are not sure whether it's the end of the relationships or just simply a challenge? So what to do about it, what rules you need to follow, how to make the break shorter, and everything you need to know to survive this break. I personally decided to address this topic because not just many of my clients experience this kind of breaks like Ross and Rachel and Friends, but also I personally experienced it. And for me, I cannot say that it went completely smoothly because it's very emotional. It's very hard to understand why your partner is getting a break, but I definitely managed to deal with it much better than majority of people just because I was following these simple rules. And spoiler alert, yeah, me and my boyfriend, we got back together and it's been already 2.5 years, so it's working. So here are rules which I was following myself. But before I share them, please don't forget to subscribe on my channel and let's get started. So rule number 1, break must have a deadline. It doesn't matter whether this deadline you agreed with your partner or not. Ideally, yes, but you need to choose deadline for yourself. Then if, for example, the deadline finished, then you can postpone it if, for example, issues are still not resolved. But matter of fact, if you don't have any certainty, it would be a complete disaster for you and you would be drowning in the obsessive thoughts. If you're watching this video, that's probably what's happening to you right now. So right now, decide for yourself, how long will this break last for you? Will it be 1 month? Will it be 2 months? Will it be 6 months? For example, one of my clients, she has been married for 5 years and her husband asked her to do the break because he wasn't mentally feeling well. He was doing the therapy, he was trying, and he literally couldn't. He needed space to deal with his own personal issues. So when she first came to me, she said, no, I'm not gonna give him more than 30 days. Then if he doesn't come back in 30 days, we're done. And here is the problem. If the partner asks you for a break, then probably you have certain problems evolving in your relationships. Probably you were fighting, probably you couldn't understand each other, maybe your relationship goals will go in separate directions, or simply life problems, work, I know it could be anything. So matter of fact, the first 30 days for a guy when he asks for a break is the honeymoon phase. Very, very not likely that he would come begging to you after 30 days. That's my point. And for her, they were together for 5 years. So after 5 years, okay, how long time are you willing to invest in your relationships to wait for your partner to resolve these issues? He didn't say we're done. He didn't say let's do the divorce. He simply asked her to go on a break. And of course, first 30 days for him, he's just adjusting. He's just trying to understand, okay, how is it without her? And then he finds all this free time for himself. And clearly he's enjoying this because for him it's the new reality. While she's suffering at home without him, he's enjoying his freedom. They didn't agree to go cheat or anything, but matter of fact, just simply doing what he wanted to do was enough for him to enter this honeymoon phase. So she, after sessions with me, she decided, okay, she's ready to give this marriage a shot for 6 months. And now it's been already a few months, they're adjusting, and her husband started courting her again, but after 3 months. So if you just entered this honeymoon phase, don't stress much about it. And of course, if you are pushing your partner, know when is going to happen, when it's going to finish, most likely you're going to get rejected and go in a full-in breakup. So my suggestion, rule number 2, don't push your partner to end the break earlier. Just use this time to work on yourself, because if you don't, then once your break is over and you get back together, most likely you would have the exactly same problems you used to have before it. So use this time not just to let your partner process his issues, but also to work on yourself. Because come on, like, don't be so arrogant. It's always something we can work on. And usually it's the problem with communication, or I know, maybe attraction dropped, or maybe you don't know where your boundaries set, or what are your fears, expectations. Like, it could be anything, but when was last time you asked these questions? So use this time to work on yourself, to become the better version of yourself. Because if you use this time, then you can use this as a quality break, and once you get back together, you would grow together. That's the ideal scenario. Of course, I cannot say that it would happen this time, because every relationship is unique and every situation is different. So who knows? But it definitely wouldn't hurt you if you start working on yourself. Rule number 3, don't fall for fear. Because fear of rejection, fear it's the end of the relationships, wouldn't let you heal, wouldn't help you to move on. Very often I hear the question like, I'm afraid to move on, I'm afraid to heal right now, because why would I need my husband? Why would I need my partner afterwards? And that's the problem. You don't want your partner just for the bad times. You want you to be with your partner for the good times. Because I cannot say it's easy to support when the partner is having problems, but it's kind of more or less understandable. What shall we do? But when we are good together, when we are growing, that's when you see the reality. That's when actually people can become close and build a real connection. So let yourself heal, let yourself move on, but not for the fear of rejection, not for the fear that this is the end, but for yourself. So you can have good time together afterwards. And the result, you would take it as a temporary challenge, not the final breakup. So rule number 4, no asking questions when, why did you do this to me? Cut off all the emotional questions at the moment, because they wouldn't help you to deal with this. First of all, if your partner asks for a break, he doesn't have these answers. He doesn't know the moment why he needs a break. Very often they don't even know, they just need space. Or for example, why did he do it with you? He didn't know it because of you. He did it for him. Yeah, this is selfish, but imagine if he didn't do this, what could have happened? Maybe he would go into depression. Oh, maybe he is already depressed. You don't know. So because people have the certain capacity of emotions, like we can process. And when the capacity finished, you cannot take more than this. So people start cutting off the things which they can cut. And in this scenario, it's you. And yeah, it sounds harsh probably, but the matter of fact, that's how it goes. And you don't need to take it personal. It's his problem. It's his business. Here I'm talking about the emotional boundaries. You need to disassociate yourself with your partner and get to the understanding that his problems are his problems. Yes, you can offer him to help with them, but if he doesn't need your help, that's okay. Just go and focus on yourself at that moment, because that's what he does, and you need to do exactly the same thing. You need to focus on yourself during the breaks, especially. Ideally, always. You never need to betray yourself, and actually you always need to focus on yourself, because this is really helpful for the healthy relationships. Another interesting thing is that many women get surprised when men come back after they already moved on, and they're like, what does he want from me? They forget that they actually were on a break. It wasn't a real breakup, and they moved on already. And then the guy like, hey, so do you want to get back together or not? After he dealt with all of this stuff. Because very often women focus on now. And it's great, honestly. It's great to be in the moment. It's great to be aligned with the present. But you need to look at relationships in the perspective, not just in the particular moment of time, because relationship is a journey. Relationships don't last for 1 minute. Relationships last for a certain period of time. So if you look at it at this break, for example, you're together for 2 years and then you take a break for 2 or 3 months. In this way, if you plan to spend a lifetime together, then what is this 2 or 3 months? It doesn't mean anything. But if you look at it, oh my God, this is 3 months, how I'm gonna survive it? Then you would go crazy during the break, and probably it will end your relationships much faster just because you're gonna be adding pressure on it more and more. So don't forget about the perspective. And of course, rule number 5 is keep positive expectations about your partner. This is always useful for any kind of relationships, because having positive expectations about the other person always help you to look at the situation at different angles. For example, if somebody get angry at you and I don't know, maybe even yelled, if you are extra sensitive and take everything personal, you would be like, oh my God, don't be angry at me. But if you don't, then you can ask, what happened to you? Did something happen at work? And because very often people didn't mean even to put their anger on you, especially if it happens suddenly. It's just something else is bothering them. So here is the same. So if you keep the positive expectations about your partner, you will be able to survive this break without any tangible damage for your emotional side. Because if you focus on the negative side, you would add really unnecessary stress into your life. You would be thinking, having these terrible images in your head, like, oh my God, what is he doing now? Is he cheating? Is he with another woman? Does he even think about me? Stop. If your partner asks for a break, he's focusing on his shit and you need to focus on yours. I'm sorry to use this language, but for real. Women, you need to be less arrogant and realize that men can have problems. And it doesn't always relate to us. And not just men, women as well. So everybody can have their own problems, and if they ask you to leave them alone at this moment, it's not necessarily about you, but it's about them. Don't take it personally. Keep positive expectations about your partner. Let him just be, and meanwhile, focus on yourself. Deal with your own stuff. Ask yourself, why you keep being negative? Why you keep thinking only negative stuff? Why don't you want to think about something good which might have happened after the break, for example? Because if you truly plan to stay with this guy together after the break, then this would be seen as simply a challenge in your relationships, not as a betrayal. Because if you start creating the resentment within you and keep having these negative images in your head, then it would be impossible to get together after a break, because the amount of resentment in you would be too much and really unsolvable, most likely. So getting back together after the break would ruin everything just because of your anger and contempt. So make sure to try to look on the positive side of it and use this time for yourself. So these are some rules which I personally used when I was on a break and which I tell each of my clients to follow. More rules I'm going to share in the part 2 of the series. So subscribe on my channel, and if you're on the break right now, you don't know what to do, one of my suggestions is pick a new hobby, pick something new to do, new activity, new community. And if you decide to work on your communication and actually understand how not to create resentment within you, how to work on your boundaries, how to work on your communication, and you would like to get this real results just in 30 days, then welcome to my one-on-one coaching program, Lady Power, where I help women to discover their boundaries, fears, expectations, work on their communication, learn attractive techniques which actually work, so you can be able to grow the attraction back in your relationships. Plus, I teach you how to navigate in the conflict and how to repair after it, and much, much, much more. You can check the content of the program below in the link. Let me know if you have any questions, and I wish you an amazing day and wish you quick and shorter break. Good luck.